So far, I've read the whole thing. By the way, we're talking
What are you
about.
talking about?
I'm talking about. Can you see this in the camera?
Ooh.
Okay. Look at that. Look at that. You know what that is? That's our friend Mitch Taylor. He
Yeah.
wrote a book.
Yeah.
It's got his name on it right there. See, right there. Has his name on it on the side. Taylor.
Yeah.
Okay. It's got his picture on the back. See
really
that?
attractive.
Huh? Picture on
He
the back.
is one impressive guy.
He is, man.
Motivated and impressive, and and that the great thing about him is that he, if you wanted to model yourself after someone after success, modeling yourself after Mitch Taylor would be a really good person to model after.
I'm saying.
Because he's always positive and upbeat, and he's always looking for the solution.
Agreed.
So it's like, you'll never find him blaming his clients or blaming the consumers or blaming. He's always like, okay, so that's the problem to overcome. All right, what do I need to do? Learn, be. What do I have to do to overcome it? And that, I think that would sum up his entire success. Successful career.
Well, that plus he gives
a really great successful.
That plus he gives me
Still
complete credit for everything he's ever learned. It's right in the book.
Complete credit?
No, not really.
Welcome to the Bill and Jason Show. I'm Jason. That's Bill.
That's me.
And you're in here for another week. That's really great. Congratulations to Mitch Taylor.
Yeah, absolutely. I think we should have him back on the show to talk about it. The book is called Sales for Event Pros, The Definitive Guide to Providing Heartfelt Solutions and Increasing Your Bottom Line. It's a great read, and I learned a lot from it.
Well, and the timing of this is really, really brilliant because it's like, I think that those in the event business really are due for something specific to the context of the business.
Absolutely. I mean, people are and people are struggling right now because so much has changed about what we do, especially in the DJ world, in the entertainment experience, providing an experience world, that it's sometimes very difficult to communicate that, especially when in our day, so many people want to start in the world of emails and then they want to end in the world of emails, when we know for a fact when we're trying to describe the actual idea of creating something amazing for them, can't be done in an email.
Mm-hmm. Well, so there's a unique challenge in the entertainment experience world, especially if you're coming from the context of being a DJ. Mm-hmm. And I one last endorsement for Mitch is that, a lot of times the question will come up, especially if DJs are considering buying a resource, like, well, is this a single op or is this a multi-op, or what point of view is this coming from? And really, Mitch has been able to do both. He has a multi-talent system, and he offers high-touch services and experience design and all of that. He's been able to bring all of that together. So whether you are working as a single or if you're looking to build something where you have multiple talent, awesome resource.
He's continually building it as well, and he's the first one to say, I've got this, but it's not done. He's never done. He's always like, well, I've got this, and it's building, and then I turn around and he's got a staff full of people that he's teaching or even sending to our workshops, and even that he's saying, well, they're okay, and they're building, and they're getting better, and they're getting better. It's because he gets that this isn't something you just decide to be one day and immediately are. It's he's built his entire life, his entire business, every way he deals with his family and his customers in a world of never-ending learning and improvement, and that's what's so impressive about him, and why it doesn't surprise me that he wrote a book. Man, it's a great book. You should get it.
I just want to take that little recording of what you just said right there, because it just made me think of an episode we did about like what's a professional and what's not a professional. And I think you summed up what a professional is.
Really?
Fill in the blank, fill in the career. It doesn't matter. You summed it up.
Well, then that's enough for our show. Well, thanks for listening.
There you go. Now you know. So this whole professional conversation has been solved and settled in the Bill and Jason Show. This should be marked in history somehow. Maybe with a timestamp or a video stamp or
we'll put it on YouTube.
What. Yeah, good idea.
I know.
Let's do that. So we were talking about like earlier you had mentioned like taking the conversation from that comes in as an email,
right?
And
or a text or
this
whatever.
Conversation comes up a lot because like everything is. I recently saw a great webinar that was saying that statistically, and this was in business to business, but I would argue this is in everybody's business, that 57% of the deciding process, of the decision process of a customer is done by the time they actually contact you. And that is by email, text, phone, whatever that might be. When they actually contact you, they're not necessarily looking to, hey, help me sort this out. And then if you, according to the research of this webinar, if you launch into like, oh, well, here, let me ask a bunch of questions to get this figured out, you end up really annoying them because they're like, I've done my research. Right. I just want to know a price.
Right.
Or I just want to know fill in the blank kind of thing to finish making my decision as they've done. So,
which doesn't seem to help us very much, because that's the one thing that every wedding professional that I talk to has the biggest problem with. Why can't, that's all they want to know, man. That's all they want to know. How much are you? How much are you? I got to get past that.
True in that respect. However, there's an opportunity there. So if 57%, it doesn't mean that they have just been wandering around in the wild and then suddenly like they decided they're halfway through.
Right.
It means they've been doing all their looking and reading online. It's like it speaks to your online marketing. It speaks to your email campaign and all of that stuff. And that gives you the opportunity to actually frame yourself against and around. So it's like, this guy is different. This seems different. So you can establish that this appears to be much more of an expensive kind of experience than, say, do you want a DJ that talks a lot at your event, kind of thing. And then you can frame like what it is that makes you, which brings me to the conversation we had about like that email. So somebody makes that inquiry and says, "Hey, I'm interested. I've looked at you enough that I'm interested in your services.
Right.
So can you give me your price and your availability?" Which is a common customer question, and it also
with
like
everything
frustrates everybody because it's like, well, how do I get around this? Especially if you know that you need a meeting to be able to, so they can discover that there are wants there that they didn't know they had by meeting with you.
Exactly.
Okay.
Or that you can't really show that I'm different just from words on a paper.
Right.
Because I'm different. I mean, this is me. All of me is what's different. And to just type it to you doesn't make any sense, and it makes it sound like I'm just making stuff up.
Well, and then they're not necessarily interested in like your resume. They're not interested in all the training you've done. They're not interested that you're more trained than others, or that you're more this than others, or that. They're just like, they have an idea of what they want, and you're either it or not.
Right.
So then talking about that other stuff that becomes annoying to them, that can then just become kind of annoying. And like, I don't want to deal with this. And in the world of attention spans, it's not there. So in a very short, succinct period of time, if you need to convert somebody to a meeting, you have to really look at, like, really take the time to drill down what it is that makes your experience unique, and then how you're going to frame that, because keeping in mind, if you say, I work with people that want more than a DJ.
Everybody wants that.
Who wants more than a DJ? I mean, or they want what they want.
Right.
But it's just to say, like, if you come in and say, "Can I have a vanilla sundae?" and you say vanilla sundae, but I'm going to put sprinkles on it, I'm going to put marshmallows, I'm going to put chocolate and strawberries and all this stuff, and you're going to love it. You just don't know it yet. It's like, whoa! I just want a vanilla sundae.
Well, that brings up my question: is where do I find that place? Because that sounds delicious,
doesn't it?
Yeah.
Right. So coming down to like really drilling down to the format of addressing what it is they're asking for.
Right.
So if they say, I want a price, don't just go sidestep it, because then they're going to go, well, this person's not giving me what I want. So there's immediately annoyance and dissonance right there. So addressing that. And then the other thing is to actually then frame yourself around what it is that is still within the realm of what interests them, which is DJ, music, entertainment. So you're not just jumping into the more. Let me give you more. I know you want an orange, but let me tell you about this apple. And addressing that in one or two, not everything, just something that really stands out to intrigue them, to have them go, oh, this is interesting. This is good. And then finally offering two choices. I have availability on this date or this date. Which would you like?
Right.
Like, so then you're entering into a conversation of which date. And then it's short, it's to the point, it's not your resume, it's not all that, and it moves it to your objective of that communication. The best way to describe it, I think, would be to, if you were going to say, if the groom, who oftentimes is tasked with finding the DJ, turns to his bride and says, we have to meet with this guy, or this guy wants to meet with us.
Right.
And she says, well, nobody else wants to meet with us. Why do we have to meet with him? Why can't we just book somebody off their site?
Right.
What's he going to say? What's going to be in your email that he's going to go, because...
What's going to be in my email? Well, first of all, it's only me. If I'm dealing with a company, I mean, it's I think Oh my goodness, this is a hard question for me to answer all the time because I'm looking for a certain kind of client too. Mm-hmm. I want someone who wants to be high touch. I want someone who wants to know who it is that's going to be in charge of their event. And maybe that's the part that makes me unique. You know, I'm only booking a small amount of events comparatively than most people, and I'm looking for a certain kind of a client. So I don't know them by email either. I don't know them by phone call. You know, I need to, take some time to get to know them. They get to know me so that it becomes this relationship of trust. So what it is for me, when they say, do we need to meet with this guy? Well, it's because that's the way I do it. For me, it's
sure. So it's establishing like, I have a process.
Right.
And this is process, and this process benefits them. How?
This process benefits them because there's no way in the world for me to send them an email back with a price to have them really truly understand what is available in hiring me. If I just put a price out there, they're going to compare me to everybody else, and it's not that that's not true. It's not comparing me to everybody else. They're comparing me to what they think everybody else is.
Yeah, just like to what they know is available based upon what they're shopping for.
Is what they've seen, and they're right. Okay, they may have seen nothing but bad DJs. Okay, and because that's what they've seen, they're right. That they know that, so they're absolutely correct. And until I can have a conversation with them around, well, something else is possible. Because most people, sadly, think they need to hire a DJ and then whittle away all the things they hate about DJs until they have an iPod.
That's a human thing.
Well, I get that. But you also, you can't tell that, though, until you have a conversation with the human being that's going to be in charge of the event,
right.
Whether it's me or somebody else. Mm-hmm. So I'm serving them in that we're meeting because they can now make an informed choice around whether they like what I have to provide and who I am and the personality that I bring to the table, as opposed to the next thing. They can either get and hopefully get what they want, or they can look at me and decide whether or not everything I have to offer is exactly what they want. Not because I'm going to do that laundry list, and not because I'm going to bring out my resume, because I never do. I never do. If it comes up, they ask the questions, have you had any schooling? I'll talk about it. But, it doesn't necessarily help me to talk about like schooling because I didn't go to college. I went to radio school. And if anybody knows anything about radio school, not that big a deal.
Like you're talking to Mike.
Right. And I've had training, but my training's all been, renegade acting courses and things you can't put on a certification. So years and years of experience, learning the hard way and bringing to the table what I do because of who I am.
So let us know what you think. What do you do to differentiate yourself between the crowd, or how do you keep your communication really succinct to be able to drive from the conversation of like price and availability to actually creating and having a meeting? So
this is a question we should ask of Mitch Taylor.
Yes, and if all this is just way too much for you, then just call Mitch.
Sales for event pros.
Call Mitch. He's the answer guy, right? So this is just a primer for the Mitch Taylor Show coming up shortly. And actually, you can catch him on DJ and TV with Vicky. So you can catch his show.
Yeah, Creating Connections, another great show.
In addition to this one.
Right, yeah. And tell everybody.
Don't replace this one.
No,
please.
not at all, because we're better looking.
So leave your comments below. We can't wait to hear what you have to say. It's the Bill and Jason Show. We'll talk to you next week.
Bye.
Broadcasting from high atop planet Earth at a rate of 96 kilobytes sampled per second over the interweb in an effort to stop glorifying being busy. This has been an entertainment experience production.